Hi, welcome to Linda's TV show. If it is your first time and you like this video and the channel, please subscribe and turn on your notification bell so that anytime I upload video, you'll be the first person to check it out. I want to appreciate all of you, my viewers, my subscribers, my amazing people for always tuning in to watch me. And for those saying that my videos are old, it might be old to you, but other people might not watch it. That is the essence of bringing it here. I open up a new YouTube channel where I talk about life in Germany. If you want to come to Germany to study, to work, or know information about Germany, click on that link down below. It will give you all the details that you need. As we hop into today's video, please watch, leave your comment down below. Until I see you again in my next video. Bye-bye. Before I drop this video, let me give you the insight of what you are about to watch. This is Governor Sulei, the governor of Nasarawa State. He was responding to the questions and attack of people asking him why do they have poor healthcare system in their state. So he was like, the governors, the politicians are busy investing their money outside instead of them to build a very comfortable and a well healthcare system in Nigeria, so that when people are sick, they will go there and treat themselves. But no, they travel abroad. Anytime they are sick, they travel abroad to treat themselves, allowing the poor ones, the poor masses, to suffer in Nigeria. As we are going to be listening to him together, let us hear what he has to say. But for me, he made a good point in this video, but I believe he knows that he is among the governors and the politicians who are responsible for this. Let us listen.
To live right here in Houston, so my doctors are here in Houston and the rest of that. So usually I carry out my medical checkup, even while I was the MD of Dangote, throughout the years that I was there. Every year I took my December annual vacation and then did it here. But unfortunately, this time around, they made it as if there was something with my health. Actually, nothing with my health. And I just finished all my medical checkup, dental checkup, eye checkup. Everything went perfect. We thank God, alhamdulillah. Thank you very much for asking.
Well, it's really good to know you're doing fine. But let me also get your response to some of the comments that came up right after the announcement of your trip at the State Assembly. So the story was put out across various, media platforms, and a couple of Nigerians had this to say. This one from Valentine says, "Are there no world-class hospitals in Nasarawa? These issues are out there. I just want you to clear them." Another one says, "Doesn't Nasarawa State have a hospital?" That's YALS. Oluwafriso says, "What happens to the hospitals we have in the country?" So we have seen this statement time and again come out when you hear news about government heads, officials traveling abroad for medical checkup. I don't know if you have seen these statements or comments, but let me just ask, what do you have to say to that?
I actually have not seen one, but in reality, I do have a doctor. Dr. EXP0SE is my doctor in Nasarawa State. He checks me all the time when I'm there. But I also have a family that is living right here. I have my 3 boys who were born right here in Houston, and all of them are living right here in the United States. One of them is an engineer with Chevron working in Midland, Texas. The other one is a dentist actually working in Austin, Texas. And then the last one, who was also born here, is working in Dallas. So I usually come during December as my vacation. It has nothing to do with medical checkup, but since I'm here and I have a long history doctor that is here, usually I carry out the medical checkup as well. But every week I do carry out my checkup in Nigeria, and my doctor is Dr. EXP0SE in life here. So all my family, in fact my wife, in Nigeria, I just gave birth to a set of twins. And it wasn't outside the country. It was right here in Nigeria, in Abuja, at the Premier Hospital. That's where she had the baby. And then my babies are going through all other checkups in there. But I have children here, and I come to check on those children with the same. I think when you are in this kind of offices, a lot of questions come across. And that's it. But other than that, I do go to Nigerian doctors, to see them. But I have a doctor also here who has long history of my medical record. And usually when I'm here, I go ahead and do that.
Well, let me just say congratulations on the birth of your children. Having one is a lot of joy. I imagine having two, how much you must feel. But let's talk about security. And that's the major issue on the lips of a lot of Nigerians this evening. So we've seen a lot of insecurity issues in 2020 alone. And let me just start by asking, if you were to do an assessment, really, of the state of security in Nigeria at this time, what you have seen in 2020, what would that assessment be?
I will say that, you see, the issue about security is so important when we mention, because our political party, the APC, came into this administration on the basis of issues of security as one of the legs. It's on three legs: economy, security, and fighting corruption. And then security actually happens to be one of them, and it's most important for all of us. When I came into this office as a governor also, I look at the areas of security as major. Now, we did have some security challenges, and the year is not over yet. We have 2 days to go, 3 days to go. And as a result of that, more and more may come. But in reality, if you look at the issues of security in Nigeria, of this administration versus what was promised, you cannot fail the administration. You will say, at least we have a pass. It's not excellent. We are still having a lot of security challenges. But we have also been able to resolve a lot of security challenges, a lot of them. And I give a good one I will give you is in Nasarawa State. In Nasarawa State from 2016, we have had a group called the Darul Salam group, and it actually graduated to a Boko Haram group. It was in the same 2020 that they were dislodged, dispersed, and disorganized, and a lot of them killed. A lot of the families, that they had, we have taken over and sent them to their various states of origin. We had over 800 children and women, that were held by those security people, and we took them over. And I know the issue of Ankara will come, because Ankara now, similar to what has happened in Borno State, Ankara, we had over 400 kids that were taken over. Now, all of them within a certain period of time were actually released, and back there. That's an effort. So I think the issue of security is something that happens everywhere, including here in the US. Yesterday was my birthday, and my friends all came here and we were discussing about that. And we brought up one that happened just here in Houston, and then we have them. So security is a major issue worldwide. We are having our own in Nigeria. We haven't overcome all the security challenges, definitely not. But are we passing? Are we making effort? Is the government doing that? Believe me, yes. The government is doing a lot. Remember the one of Kankara, for instance, happened when Mr. President was actually in Daura itself, in the same state. If you know Katsina very well, from Kankara is Katsina is Daura, where this has happened. And yet, within a certain period of time, people they were able to get them, to release them. So was that an effort from the administration? I think yes. I think people should give a little bit of credit, to the government. Security challenges will continue to happen, but how the government approaches them and resolves them is what matters.
Comparing Nigeria really to the United States, saying that they have their insecurity challenges also. Just before I introduced you, I tried to chronicle some random insecurity events across the country just in the past 24 hours. And for example, in Borno State, you see that residents have fled their homes as Boko Haram terrorists attacked 4 villages in the southern part of the state. Does that happen in the United States? You see also gunmen suspected to be bandits killing a village head. And this is not something that happens once in a while. This is something we see happen, consistently over time. The cases of kidnappings also. So the question is, in comparing, can we really do that? Because clearly this is different. You don't have residents fleeing or attacks happening for hours in areas in the United States. So is that a fair comparison?
No. Don't mistake me. I never even support comparison of the US and that. The issues I'm bringing about is about security. I have lived in the United States I went to university here, I lived here for a very long time, and I know the situation here. And that's why a lot of Nigerians run here, because they want peace and this and that. So there is no room for comparison whatsoever. But what I'm trying to say is that security when you talk about security challenge, It happens everywhere, including here in the United States, where it's seen as security heaven. So that's the point I'm making. Of course, we are having problems. Let us take Borno, for instance, the one you mentioned. People are running away from their home. People are doing that. People are doing that. Yes, they are. Now, in Borno State, when this administration came into power in 2015, only about 3 or 4 local government areas out of the 27 local government areas were in the hands of the government. The rest were in the hands of the Boko Haram. Today, only 2 local government areas in Borno State are not in control of the government. All these other 25 were there. How did I know? I was in Borno State recently. I took a delegation to Borno State. When I was there, I went and visited the governor, because of the killing that had happened. And then I also visited the Shehu of Borno during the period. And we had lengthy discussions about this. And then I met with the elders group. Borno has what they call the elders forum, of people from different backgrounds, different professions, held different positions that they are there, and I met with them. And we discussed this at length. So is there progress in Borno on security? Yes. Is there security challenge in Borno? Yes. Including the ones that you see happening in the last 24 hours. This is the situation. So what I'm saying is that, yes, we are having security challenges in the country, no doubt. But is the government making effort, and is the effort being successful in some cases? Yes. That's the point I'm making. So it's not about comparison with the US. I should be the last person to do that because I understand the US as much as I understand Nigeria. So I'm not making comparison at all.
You have sat and continue to sit at various high-level security meetings and just help Nigerians get a sense of what happens behind the scenes, from the mood, the tone of maybe government, security heads. What kind of sense do you get from them? Do you get a sense of urgency, really, in proffering solutions, in tackling these issues? Just what happens at that level?
I think there are 2 issues there, sir. The first issue is concerning what the people want. You see, government, the major role of government is to provide security for its people and their assets. That's the number 1 job of every government, anywhere in the world. And where that is not coming, where people are thinking it's not coming enough, people will have the right to speak the way they speak. And that is what is happening in Nigeria. That's the beauty of democracy. People can say a lot of what they say based on the way they feel and the way they are looking at it. And I think they are right to do that. Now, based on those meetings you are talking about, Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari has his own way of handling things. And it cannot be the same with every other leader. For instance, a lot of people, and I know that's one of the things we want to mention, a lot of people have been complaining, we have to change security officials. All these major officials managing our police, our army, our air force, they have to be changed because the strategy has not worked. Now, Mr. President's approach is, we have to keep changing the strategy. People are saying change the people. He is saying change the strategy. And this I apart from him once or twice. He's saying this strategy is not working. We have to change the strategy. It doesn't work, you change the strategy. Other people will say no, change the people. So I think these are the different approaches, that is that actually is happening in Nigeria today. And I can't speak for Mr. President, why he decides to select one option rather than the other. He is in a better position to speak for himself. But I'm telling you, this is it. And a good example, again, is what has happened in Ankara. A lot of people expected Mr. President to leave immediately and run to Ankara, to that school, to pay a visit. And then television will be all around him, taking to show he's concerned, he's passionate with that. He didn't do that. Instead, he's in the quiet room, planning, how do we get the children back? How do we do that? After the children were brought back, then there was quiet, because a lot of people were saying, why is it? So Nigerians are also a different kind of people to approach. So when you become a leader, you have to learn the type of people and then be patient, because patience is what every leader in Nigeria needs. Otherwise, people are going to jump and say, do this, do that, do this. And if you are the kind of leader that is going to go with the crowd, when the crowd say, do that, you do that, do this, you do that. At the end of the day, you get making a lot of mistakes.
Well, Governor Sulei, I was also asking particularly about the sense of urgency, the tone and the mood at those meetings. Do Do you get a sense of that when you attend or from the ones you have been?
Yes, definitely. You know, and if there is anybody, and I have attended some of those meetings one-on-one with Mr. President, okay? Because I run to Mr. President when the situation is terrible. There was a time in the same Nasarawas, you could not drive from one city to another, from Toto to Umash, because the people had taken over, you know, they were coming out to robbery and everything. When you are, and this was during the COVID-19 era, when Mr. President was not even anybody. But because it's a security matter, he saw me. We met. He again engaged, organized a meeting immediately of all the security agencies. Action was taken, and that's why we had the combined operation of the military, the Air Force, the police, the Navy, you know, all came together to do that within the period of time. So if you are talking about security, I think if you even want to get Mr. President's attention, talk about security. He's a man who is so worried and concerned about security of the country, you know. But you see, he is not also the kind that will come out and talk so much. As I said, I don't talk for the President. I'm not there to talk for him. I'm talking about based on what I know and what I have seen. There is urgency about in this country. Of course there is.
I recall at that visit to Borno State, you specifically asked the president to adopt other strategies to end killings in the country. And this is part of what you said. He said it is time to start thinking differently, especially after trying several options which are yet to solve the lingering insurgency. Now, that was a statement directly at the president which you made. We're due for a break in a moment, but let me just get you to unravel this at least a little bit. What did you mean by that?
With that statement, what I meant, I think many times we have spoken about, can we engage other external forces to assist us as a strategy? We have seen how the Chadians have been very successful in handling the Boko Haram. Can we engage them? Okay? And some of them, I can't talk the nationality, you know, but those are the kind of things we were talking about, you know. Can we actually begin to engage others to assist us, you know, so that we can handle this matter once and for all? And that's what I had in mind.
Well, specifically speaking, because the Borno State government, or the governor rather, spoke about engaging mercenaries. I know that there were, you know, collaborations with neighboring countries, the multinational joint task force. So in which light are you talking about this engagement, really? Is it in terms of mercenaries or what?
I think I'm not leaving any option out. Any option that we can have to end this insecurity in Borno and other places, I was referring to that.
And after you made that statement, which was weeks ago, by the way, did you get any sense that your voice was heard? Maybe because it would seem as though, because in fact, the governor of Borno State made that, you know, statement saying we need to get mercenaries, we need to get more people from this area to be enlisted in the military, and he made some other demands. But it appears as though we're not hearing much. But what you said, did you get any response or did you see anything in line with that?
I think with this government, with this Mr. President that we have, it's not necessarily that when you make a public statement, you will have a public response. They will continue to plan. They will look at what you said. They will evaluate. They will take into consideration of what you said, whether it makes sense or not, and they will work on it. You know, that's what I was telling you earlier. Sometimes people want immediate answer. I didn't make this statement long ago, like you are saying, like 3 months, 4 months ago. I made this statement roughly about a month ago. You know, and it was based on the statement. Now they are working on it. Are they engaging some of these mercenaries, like the governor is also saying? Again, even the elders in Borno State have called on similar issues. You know, so are we working on that? Are we doing that? Well, the administration will know better.
I was referring to the statement you made when you visited Borno State right after the kidnapping, which was a few weeks ago. But let me also talk about some statements that have come out, not from governors this time around, but from groups. You may have caught that statement from the coalition of northern groups in an interview with The Punch, where the group was quoted as saying that the president's political will is questionable in tackling security challenges. Now, that was a statement made by a group in that area who knows better about what the security situation is, and they know what they have seen, national levels, that ties, of course, to the federal government and the local government. Thank you so much for staying with us on the program. Just before we went on that break, Governor, I was asking your response to that statement made by the CNG. And let me just give you, some more of that statement, saying that there appears to be a huge vacuum in the political will and capacity to challenge the current Dante security situation, which is certainly what the criminals have sensed and are exploiting with ease. Quite clear. What do you say to that question of political will? Because clearly the CNG does not see that.
Yeah, I think the CNG can say what they feel is a free world. However, the Borno elders have said a different thing altogether. Borno elders live in Borno, just like the CNG that you mentioned. I don't know who they are. The governor lives in Borno. The government of Borno State lives in Borno. As a matter of fact, when I was there, the deputy governor was deep down somewhere around Goza. So these are the kind of people. These are not people that are just operating under some kind of association. So, but they have the right to mention what they have. That what they are saying completely contradicts what these other people are saying. You know, is as I keep telling you, there is, of course, the issue of insecurity in Nigeria is of concern. It's a responsibility of the government. Government must come in to address that, both at the state levels as well as at the federal level. Remember, every governor is the chief security officer of his own state. You know, so every governor is also working so hard, you know, to see how he can secure his own state. And I think those are the kind of things that is happening. Some of the governors stay in Nasarawa State. We are using our traditional rulers, or using our vigilante group, we use our security agencies, all through to see how we can maintain peace in the state, you know, and we have to approach it differently. So you can find some other individuals that will say, like I told you, the two strategies that are there. One is to change all the security officers that we have in the country, you know, change the chief of army staff, IG of police, this and that. Probably that's what those people want as a strategy. Unfortunately, it does not agree with the strategy of Mr. President. If that is what they are interpreting as a lack of will, political will, again, they have the right to call it whatever they call it, as I'm telling you. But whatever it is that they are saying, as I keep saying, contradicts what the real people in Borno, that is the government of Borno, the local government chairman in Borno, and the rest of that, and the emirs and the traditional rulers are saying. You know, that's not what they told me when I was there. They didn't tell me that the president lacks the political will to do this. They didn't tell me the governor lacks the political will to do that. In fact, they were praising the governor. When we were driving all over Maiduguri and the rest of that, everywhere they were praising the governor for doing well on the areas of security. I don't know who are the CNG are talking about.
But what would you think the residents of those 4 villages in southern Borno State who have fled their homes as a result of an attack that started yesterday and lasted for hours, what do you think they will have to say to this? Because yes, you've talked about the Borno elders, the CNG. Yes, that's on the one hand. But the people who are experiencing this, do you think they will agree with you?
Well, the people are devastated. Okay, the people are very unhappy. The people are devastated. The people need attention, and the attention that they must get from the government, because that's what government is all about. So if the people are unhappy and they are saying everything, they have the right to say that, because government has the responsibility to protect them, and they don't feel protected, therefore they have the right to say that. So that's a different thing altogether. Now, take me back to another village. You know, take me to B0K0, for instance, or somewhere where was taken completely away from them by the Boko Haram. And this administration has worked so hard in making sure they go there. Ask them the same question and see what they will say. Are they going to tell you the government likes the way, the government likes that? They will say, no, we thank God. This government has brought us back to our homes. This government has done that. You know, so I think that's what I keep telling you. There are two different things. You will continue to hear that. You know, and again, I know you don't want comparison. Go to a house here where some kind of armed robber or some kind of kidnapper or some kind of has gone into their homes right here in Europe or in America or so, and has done something wrong to them, and ask them, you would hear how negative they would speak about the government. Right here. It's the subject. But you and I are talking positive about all the other things. And if you go to somebody who is directly affected, you know, who had maybe his child killed, you know, by somebody on the street who has just run into his house. In this same neighborhood in Cypress, Texas, we have a house here. You know, somebody went in there, met a disabled person, killed the person, stole from the house and ran away. Ask those people to talk to you about American government. They will tell you the same thing as those people running away from the house will be telling you. So I think that's the point.
Well, about the comparison, really, it's not about what I want. It's your opinion and you're entitled to it. So it's not that I don't want comparison. I was just asking if it was fair to compare, you know, Nigeria and the United States in terms of the insecurity that we have seen in recent times in the country. But speaking of what people have said, what has been said about the security situation, you know, there's been this sort of ruckus over an editorial by Financial Times. You must have caught that, where the international daily newspaper said that Nigeria is at risk of becoming a failed state, citing numerous security challenges. And there's a quote from that editorial saying the definition of a failed state is one where the government is no longer in control. And it cited that attack in Zabamari, where the terrorists had all the time to carry out that very heinous attack. And he goes on to say, by this yardstick, Africa's most populous country is teetering on the brink. Now, as someone in charge of affairs at the subnational level and a member of the ruling APC, what do you have to say to that?
So I think, let me go back to the earlier statement I made. The earlier statement I made, I didn't give this our administration of the APC excellent in protecting the lives and property of people. I didn't. I didn't give them very good, to understand. So it means if you look at it carefully, we have a lot to do in the areas of security, no doubt. There is no ambiguity about it. And I don't think anybody is going to tell you that we are doing fantastic in the areas of managing security. But are we doing the best we can? Are we improving in other areas? Are we that? That's the one I gave you the answer. I say yes. Are we having security challenges in Nigeria? I tell you yes. A lot of them. Nearly in every state of the federation, we are having one problem or the other. But they are worse in certain places. They are worse, like in Borno State you mentioned, like in Zamfara, like in Katsina, like in that you have mentioned. You know, it is true that we are having these type of problems. You know, and do you think Mr. President will sit down and be happy and enjoy that in his home state of Katsina there is insecurity and he's happy? Of course not. He's constantly working also with these other people. But my concern is with people who think nothing is being done. We are a failed state. We are a this, we are a that. These are statements that are being made, you know, by people who probably don't even mean well for Nigeria and don't understand what the government is doing and how the government is trying. You know, I bet you, if these children were still in the hands of those who kidnapped them from Kankara, they would not even say Nigeria is running into a failed state. They will call us a failed state. You know, but now that they have been released, okay, that's why we are getting again a little bit of credit that okay, we are about to be a failed state. Now, this question of failed state has happened many times in some of these international media. You know, they have tried not just for this administration, you know, for the previous administration when Abuja was being bombed, when Adama, when three states were declared state of emergency, they were calling us also almost a failed state then. Now, do we have any state that is under emergency? I mentioned to you about the number of local government areas. You know, are we going to have really a country where
ironically, actually, it would seem that the government agrees with that editorial in some sense, because it goes on to say, with kidnapping and insecurity rife, the government needs to restore trust. And you might recall the president's Christmas message asking for Nigerians to reinvest their trust in his ability to, of course, handle these issues. So clearly, this editorial has some credence to it, if not Why will the government also ask Nigerians to reinvest trust in it?
Well, I mean, it is the same thing with what I told you earlier. And there is a lot that needs to be different from the way maybe some other people will see it. They say, please trust what we are doing. What we are trying to do is also going to take us, and there is no guarantee about what you want us to do will be able to achieve that success. That's the point that is being made. The government is not saying that, yes, we agree with the editorial, we are about to be a failed state. I don't think the government is telling you that. So those are different things altogether.
I know recently governors from your region met to discuss insecurity and, of course, economic issues. And a couple of resolutions were put out in that communique of the meeting, which was described as first of its kind. But let's be honest, we've seen meetings like that time and again, governors coming together. You'd also hear the caveat that, well, as governors, we're only chief logistics officers. We're not chief security officers. We'll touch on that. But just how can Nigerians be sure, especially people living in your state and in that region, how can they be sure that this meeting, the resolutions from the communique, will have bite, better than the previous ones we have seen?
No, and I think in some other cases, we've been able to do that. We've been able to achieve that. When we had the first security summit, it was in Latvia. We had the first security summit in Latvia, which was organized by the IGP, and all the governors of the region came. And we started working together. And I'm sure you have seen situations where we have had a couple of visits between the governor of Benue and I, and we've been able to resolve that. Today, I will tell you, there is absolutely no border problem between Benue and Nasarawa State. Even though they have an anti-grazing law in Benue, and we don't have one in Nasarawa, absolutely no problem. That problem completely disappeared. And it disappeared because of the meetings we had, because of the problems we had. So was it a bite? I think yes, it was a little bit of bite, depending on what people define by bite. Now, we also discussed, at length about the situations in Plateau. Okay? And today, you can see the situation again in Plateau has significantly reduced. I don't think you have had much in that area anymore. So was that a little bit of bite? I think yes. As a result of that, you are not familiar with Nasarawa very well, otherwise I would have told you there is a major road, the road that connects Abuja to the southern part of the country, especially going to Obolafo, Enugu to and the rest of that. It is a particular spot called Many Have Gone. As a result of that summit, it was agreed, and the police now established the third mobile police training school on that hill. Since then, that's the same hill where the deputy governor of Nasarawa State was attacked. Since then, there has not been one case of armed robbery on that area. Was that a bite? Yes. I think we give some of these people a little bit of credit. So things don't have to work at the speed of light like other people expect to be. But yes, we are taking some of those things a little bit at a time, and it's been happening. And I talked about the situation of insecurity that was going on, between Chotu and Umaisha. Since the dislodgement of this group and taking away of their food and distributing them, has there been a major problem again there? No.
Well, I recall that last month, pardon me, I recall that last month, just right after that, the sad killing of the chairman of a party in your state, you promised that the perpetrators will be brought to book. That was an incident, a very sad one, and a lot of people will be wondering just what has been done. And against the backdrop of what I said earlier about governors saying that, well, we don't have much powers. In fact, sometimes you hear governors say, when we speak to commissioners of police in our states, they'll need to take orders from above just to do what we're asking them to do in our state. So there's always that issue, and it's been on for several years now. So the question is, just how are you finding a way around that? Because clearly we need that to work.
Yeah, for us in Nasarawa, fortunately, we don't have that problem at all. The reason why I'm telling you that is because we brought in the police, the military, the Air Force, and the special forces that we have, along with our traditional rulers, and that work as a team. So the question is that I don't expect my commissioner of police, who has never, even for once, told me that I'm taking orders from above. We have this kind of relationship. So it depends on the relationship that is being managed between the state government and some of those agencies. Yes, they have a reporting line, okay, to their headquarters in Abuja. Yes, they have reporting lines to the federal government. Yes, they have that, but they also report to the state government. And depending on the relationship that we maintain, I think, between us, it also helps to guide us over. I don't direct or supervise or the general that is managing the Air Force, but there has never been a time we call him and say we are having a problem, and he will say, no, I'm waiting for orders from above. Or speak with the commissioner of police to say we are having a challenge here. He said, no, I'm waiting for orders from above. Never happened. Not once, ever. So again, it all depends. Sometimes we politicize some of these things as if there is a major problem. There are some states, I'm not doubting you, and I'm not arguing with you on that. There are some states that are having problems between the state governor and the commissioner. Yes, there are. But I think it is also up to the governor to do the best he can, because indeed, according to the constitution, he can't be running away that he is not the chief security officer of the state. He is the chief security officer of the state.
Right.
Who is the
pardon me, I just need to quickly put this in before we round off the conversation. When you put in or bring in the political dimension, it will sound as though you're saying, well, states that are being governed by the ruling party don't quite have an issue, but states in the opposition have an issue. But maybe that's a conversation for another day. But I want to get your commitment, as it were, for Nigerians watching. Is the year 2021 the year we'll see an improvement in the security situation of the country?
I strongly believe so, and I hope so. And for us, we have already started putting all the necessary things that we need to do towards that action. I think the message is very, very clear now to the government, both at the regional level and at the federal level. Message is clear. Nigerians want security, and if any government wants to be a serious government, we have to take issues of security more serious than the way we have taken them in the past. We have seen challenges, and I think that the challenges are very clear, and we have to work in that order. But you said something, let me clear the air on that one. You mentioned that when the chairman of the APC in Nasarawa State was killed, we said we were going to do what has been done because we didn't finish the question. We have arrested the people that have killed the chairman. We have investigated to find out what has happened, and they are going through prosecution at the moment. So I think I need to make that very, very clear so that people don't think that after the killing, nothing has happened.
Well, it's good to know that that is being followed through actively. But Governor Sulei, would like to thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on the security situation in the country and what to expect in the year 2021. And we hope that the next time we speak, we'll see improvements. Thank you so much, Governor Abdullahi Sulei of Nasarawa State, for your time on the program.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I'd like to get your response to some of the issues raised by Governor Sulei in terms of, the governor's powers, a review of the security situation in 2020, what to expect in 2021. I don't know if you can just lump these together.
I think the governor of Nasarawa State is a very good governor. I've watched him in the way he deals with things in his state, and I give that to him. But I think in talking about national security, I must say he was speaking in many respects in a contradictory way. For example, he was very hesitant to qualify the performance of the government, which to me, it has been very poor. The performance of President Muhammadu Buhari on security, very, very poor. Because where you hear a state where governors are forced to, like the eminent and governor I respect of Borno, calling for mercenaries, where then it's only banana republics that call for mercenaries. a state cannot be calling for mercenaries. So it's indicative of how bad the situation is, to the point that the governor doesn't have as much trust to the, of the state apparatus and wants mercenaries to be used. And in effect, this is corroborated, even though Governor Abdullahi didn't want to, Sulei didn't want to say it. What the Financial Times said is completely on point. We are in a failed state. Also, where the governor was trying to try to dodge the issue, the eminent Sultan of Sokoto has come out to state clearly, I'm sure Governor Abdullahi cannot compete in authority with the Sultan in his own domain. The situation is very bad. Then the elders, Northern Elders Forum, what they are saying is correct. And I think people like Governor Abdullahi Sulei, who a well-read man and a gentleman, they should be much more people who should be advising the president and not misleading him by giving confusing signals. Because the president is not doing well on security.
When you say the president is not doing well, does this tie to the political will, which was referenced in that statement by the CNG, or just generally speaking?
Political will, sincerity of purpose. And then, thirdly, competence. Now, fourthly, the president is failing in using, you see, what General Gowon did when he faced the civil war, he made up for his shortcomings by inviting other wise people to join his cabinet to advise, that is Chief Awolowo and Enahoro. And of course, the British at the background, they were the game changers. People do not give credit to the role Enahoro played and Awolowo made in the financial management, especially in, I give you an example, in changing the naira, the pound, the money. This was strategic. This present administration has no, what I would call, grand strategy, that is political economic strategy, how to fight the war. The reliance is solely on a conventional forces. You can't do that in the kind of war which is being driven by non-state armed forces.
Yeah.
So there's a lack of, the seventh governor who asked the president, he cannot himself tell us what is this government's military strategy, not to talk of the grand strategy of running this war. There's none.
So are you supportive of the mercenaries idea?
Sorry?
Are you in support of the mercenaries idea?
First of all, the way I answer this, or the way any humble military man, a strategist will answer, is that first, you have to, you see, when you have a cart, someone with a horse, you have a chariot, you have the horses in front who pull, you have the person holding the rein, and then you have the owner. The president is the owner. He tells the man, the chariot or whatever, how to pull, and the horses follow. Where we now have, the horses are the one pulling and finding direction. The reason is this. Those who execute policies, that is the Chief of Air Force Staff, Chief of Army Staff, are the ones driving the show. It shouldn't be the case.
Well, the president is the commander-in-chief.
The president is commander-in-chief, but he's not driving the show. Because the evidence of driving the show, have you ever heard the president coming up with any strategic direction?
Should that be something he comes out with, or something that happens behind the scenes?
No, he comes out with. See, this is don't. You see, that's the mistake. All this mystification. The strategy, the grand strategy of running a war has to be clear.
What about the national security strategy? One was released last year.
What is it?
The national security strategy.
Yeah, what is it?
Have you seen it?
No, I'm asking.
Well, it contains the idea of this government regarding the insecurity challenges.
No,
it was released last year.
What it contains is actions that will be taken. That's not a strategy. A strategy is, first of all, like I said, General Gowon example was, General Gowon, in merely civil war, he started with police action. The strategy was police action. Later, he elevated it to military action. And in that action, the strategy was clear. The strategy was, first of all, he got in the civilian arm, the soft, what you may call soft power, to do their work, and he also relied on the military arm. In our case, in this war, the war against non-state actors is much more complicated. That is, you require both the soft power, that is, you also require the conventional which they are relying on, but more than that, what is lacking, it is the unconventional, the mainstream. That is what Governor Zulum has been asking for, that if you armed his civil, the government is to arm and train his civil joint task force better, they will do a better action than the conventional, because the conventional are not really oriented and trained to deal with unconventional forces. So we are wrong on the grand strategy, we are wrong on the military strategy. What we see is actions. That is, the horses are pulling left and right. The Air Force is pulling this way, the Army is pulling that way. The intelligence is pulling that way.
That's an interesting analogy. But we've run out of time, Colonel. But we'd like to thank you so much. I mean, you've shed...
Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time or first day of coming across my YouTube channel or seeing my face, you are highly welcome. Herzlich willkommen zu meinem Kanal. My name is Linda Chukwueze. It comes as Miguel. That red button that says subscribe, and you turn on the notification bell so that you'll be able to get information on the...
Bis zum nächsten Video und einen schönen Tag. Tschüss.
Tschüss. Bis man. Subscribe to Linda's TV show. What are you waiting for? Click on that red button that says subscribe. You turn on the notification bell so that you'll be getting more updates from me. Leave your comments down below and share this video with your friends, families, and colleagues until we meet again in my next video. Bye bye.